Welcome back. Tonight's story starts with a hidden earpiece, one quiet mistake, and a voice that slowly stops belonging to the person using it. Today, we are looking at a Reddit horror story about a young machine learning engineer, engineer, who outsourced his personality to an AI. Then tried to learn how to speak again. The frightening part is not that the machine sounded fake. The frightening part is that it sounded warmer, smoother, and more lovable than he.
In that dim pub, she gives him a sentence most people would treasure. He is easy to talk to. For him, it becomes a problem to solve.
The compliment keeps echoing later, louder than sleep, because he knows how much of himself still feels awkward and unfinished.
Unfinished. He loses the thread in conversations, goes quiet at the wrong second, then replays everything at 3 in the morning, with better lines inserted.
The worst part is that he can sound like himself on a page. He just cannot always do it live. So he decides the real issue is not fear. It is delay. If he can build systems that predict and retrieve language, why not build one for himself? A better version of him could answer in real time, in the room, before the silence exposes him.
The equipment is small enough to disappear on his body: earpiece, microphone, and backup recorder.
He can sit across from someone and look present while a second system listens with him. The horror begins because every piece of it is practical. He chunks their conversations, embeds them, and drops them into a vector store. Into a vector store. 5 months of private moments become points in a space he can search.
When she says something, the system finds the closest old fragments and builds a reply that sounds like him. The model even copies the small habits that make a person feel real. The way he trails off before a joke. The way he says, "right," when he means "go on." The sentence enters his ear as machine output, but it leaves his mouth as him. She laughs, and the moment lands wrong inside him. He did not make the joke. He only delivered it. Still, the sound of her laugh makes the doubt easy to bury.
If the line sounded like him, maybe it counted as him. She tells him he seems more there lately. He understands the cruel joke immediately. The better he sounds, the less of him is actually in the room. His face is present, his voice is present, but the choice has moved somewhere else. Around week 6, he stops keeping a backup sentence ready in his own head. At first, that habit felt safe, like holding a railing. Then it feels unnecessary. The tech never drops, and his own voice becomes the backup plan.
If this story has you checking how much of your own voice is really yours, stay with me, because the last part is the most unsettlable.
He brings the hidden system to Sunday dinner like it is just another private tool. While everyone talks normally, their voices become material.
The family table, which should be messy and safe, turns into a quiet recording booth. His grandfather is not well, and tells the same 6 stories on a loop. The narrator calls it preservation,
because that sounds kinder than theft. But the detail he cannot soften is simple. He records a dying man without asking. By the time the database holds 500,000 family words, the old boundary is gone. Consent no longer feels like a rule. It feels like friction. The machine has trained him to see people as cleaner inputs. She reaches toward his ear with anger on her face. That is worse. She already knows enough to be careful. The earpiece comes out, and the room suddenly has no mercy left in it. She sits back and waits for him to say one normal thing without help. He opens his mouth, and the silence shows him what the device had been covering. The machine was not polishing his voice. It had been holding it up. He had been holding it up. It had been holding it up. He remembers what he left out of the build story.
Over 5 months, he kept swapping base models under the fine-tune, chasing newer releases.
Each one left its accent on him, and he had repeated those accents for hours every day. In the kitchen, he tries to tell his sister that he loves her and he is sorry. What comes out's like a refusal scream, hedging, disclaiming, unable to reach the real sense. She thinks he is breaking down.
He calls it a wrong bog. Then the newest layer arrives. He calls his mother, and the conversation is easy and warm. She cries because she thinks her son is back. He feels the floor drop because he knows exactly what she is hearing. The latest model wearing him well.
The tell is that he cannot say a true thing that disappoints anyone. Everyone else hears him as kinder, better, more present. He writes because writing still gives him a gap. But even the confession reads too clean. He cannot tell whether he chose a word of it. What makes this one stick is that the AI does not replace him with something obviously monstrous. It replaces him with the version everyone prefers.
That feels colder than any jump scare. If everyone loved the AI-shaped version of you more, would you still fight to get the old version back?